Hey everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back again for another It Starts With Me. So, Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, every single Wednesday, we're here, right here for It Starts With Me, right out of the Tenacity Foundation. We've got a amazing guest today. She's the wonderful Dinah Redhouse, and she's breathtaking. She's amazing, and she's a genius. But before we get into who she is and what she does, first let's take care of a few other things. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, and also hit that little bell, that little buzzer whenever we're on YouTube, when you subscribe to our channel, so it reminds you when we are going live or when we have a program that is debuting. All right. Also, the co-star of the Community Beacon has his own show every single Monday at 9 o'clock p.m. You can meet up with Mike Seville from Motivational Mondays with Mike. He's giving out awesome tidbits and different techniques as well as tips that can just help you to progress in your business as well as in your life. So make sure you check that out. And again, on Fridays, we'll be here together for the Community Beacon, Mike Seville and myself, and we are here to open up the Community Beacon to all those that are listening so that we may be able to share our experiences and the things that we've learned in hopes that we may be able to help somebody to liberate their minds as well as their finances and their selves wholly to be able to reach a brighter future and then even accelerate from there. So we're hoping to see you soon. All right. Now it's time for us to bring Dinah out front. Let me go ahead and tell you a little about Dinah. Dinah Redhouse is the founder of Digital Prodigee. She created the company with the hopes to create or to disrupt technology. A couple years back, she was awarded the Pearl Oden Award for the fastest growing tech startup in the city of Charlotte. Now, residing in Florida, Dinah has hopes to accelerate her company's growth and brand equity by re-envisioning technology and business in a male-dominated world. At this time, Dinah.
Wow, what an amazing introduction. Thank you so much, Joel. I really appreciate that.
You deserve it. You're awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing incredible. As always, at a fast-growing tech business, things are moving quickly, and my schedule's packed to the max. But as we learn as entrepreneurs, we can always take on more, and we can expand and grow. And so that's what I've been doing, and it feels amazing. It's a huge blessing to be where I'm at right now, part of the journey.
I love that you said that because that's really important. Scalability, knowing when and how to scale is like huge. So it sounds like you got your hands wrapped around that really well. Is that true?
To a degree. I mean, for me, I feel like it's always, they say there's break points in a business, right? Where you're starting to grow and you need to kind of readjust, and it's kind of like getting into the next size up, right? Or like you're growing into each shoe size. And for us, it kind of almost seems like it's every day that we're having break points because every day we're having to pivot and kind of brainstorm and figure out how to be resourceful. I always say there's no lack of resource, only resourcefulness, right? So I always feel like it's how are we going to make the next move forward and get through each bottleneck as it comes. And I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur and a growing business is you get to learn so much about yourself and how you're able to be adaptive and how you're able to have resiliency. And to me, I feel like it's a muscle, and it grows even more strong and powerful as you continue to see how brilliant you really can be. And in terms of scalability, I mean, it's something that I've felt really strongly for the last decade when I first created, my first app. And I try to convince all these people to put in money for it. The family, how it goes, right? You do the whole crowdsourcing, bootstrapping thing. Well, I call it heel strapping. And no one would put any money in until I finally decided to do it myself, and I made my return on investment. And that's when I realized this market is unlimited, and doing mobile applications are the next big thing. It's to me, it's the modern day gold rush, and so we're as scalable as time will permit me right now, and and my resourcefulness. And that's the only person I'm competing against is, myself, in the sense that, not expectation, but in greatness. Did I do as best as I could today? Did I put my best foot forward? And if that's a yes, then I succeeded that day.
Mm. That was a lot of powerful statements, and you ran through them so quickly. That just is a nod to your geniusness. I truly believe that. So, a couple of things that you were mentioning, I think that every single entrepreneur should think about,
Yeah.
and that was adaptiveness and resiliency.
Mm.
And I feel like that can be something that is very difficult. Sometimes we as entrepreneurs, we feel as if, okay, well, this is my plan. This is exactly where I'm going. And then when we start to hit these bumps in the roads, or we start to come across these crossroads where we have to make a decision, and maybe neither decision is the one that we wanted,
Yeah.
or one decision is the one that we wanted, but then there's two other ones that are totally different. Making that decision or becoming adaptable to the environment and to what's going on is very difficult. How do you find that you're able to accomplish, choosing and being grateful for the successes that you get out of your choice?
So that's an amazing question, because I'm still learning, right? But one thing I can say is that what I've realized most of anything is that, this journey, which it's such an amazing journey, not a destination. It's so much of an ode to us letting go of control, and us mastering the ability to let go of control and allow things to fill in the gaps of opportunity. And I'll give an example. Recently, I was kind of looking for a partner to help us with something that was a major opportunity that we could leverage at our company. And I vetted about 20 different companies, and just nothing was coming through. And then as soon as I kind of sat back and I let it go, that's when the right person came to me. And so, I think that a lot of it is doing our due diligence, doing the best we can, and then kind of allowing the right thing to kind of rise to the occasion. Of course, as any other business owner, I would say use, not only an emotional kind of judgment call, but also a logical decision, right? I always kind of look and see what is going to give me the best results, and kind of do my research. But overall, I feel like there's that art of allowing to kind of let things flow to you. And if that's, if I haven't learned anything else, that has been my biggest learning lesson in the last year's journey that I've taken to get where I am right now, from being in a full-time job in Lancaster, South Carolina, that just every day I woke up just kind of getting that anxious feeling in my stomach saying, God, I got to do this again, and to being where I'm at a point where I roll over every morning. I see yachts going by the river in Florida, and I get to see palm trees and sunny skies. And I literally am almost overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, and appreciate every step that has gotten me here. And that's really a testament to being able to let go and allow that next step forward. Because let me tell you, a year ago when I got fired from that job, even though I hated it every day, I was crying. I was so sad. I was like, it was a huge hit to my ego. And that's another thing is when travesty happens in our life and we don't, we're hit, pretty hard with things. And sometimes that's loss of all kinds of different things, And aside from it being someone maybe we loved, aside from that, I think a lot of times why it hurts the most is because we think we're always in control. And when we get that chin check to ourselves to let us know you're not in control, it's more of our egos saying, wow, that really hurts to know that something bigger than me is in control. But when we actually realize that next level, from that is beauty, is miracles, is blessings, it's almost so much easier to welcome those things, those kind of setbacks into our life. Because if it wasn't for that pain I felt and that letting go of control and not knowing the next step forward, I would never be where I'm at right now. And so that's the beauty of it all. And that's the beauty of the journey. And so when it comes to making a big decision, you do your research, but sometimes just got to let go a little bit.
Wow. Just the fact that you called it beauty was extremely impressive to me. I think there's a lot more in what you just said than that. But I think that's an excellent way of explaining it. And you also stated that it was like an art.
Mhm.
So this is something that, I think that maybe we have to learn a little more of how to let go of things, and then more importantly, how to allow things to really begin to manifest.
So
One
true.
of one of my philosophies is PAM management, and it just means project, act, manifest. And
Ooh.
the funny part about it is, I don't know if many people noticed it, but in between acting and manifestation, there's really not another step,
Mm.
because the manifestation happens.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to put what's in your mind, you have to begin to visualize it, see it for yourself, and then you have to act on it.
Yeah.
But when it manifests, it's not really always your choice. It's like something that happens in the midst of it's like mystery.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And what I've found it to be is the emotional alignment with that thing. It's funny, Joel, because last year, probably almost the same time of year, I was still working full time. And I would tell everybody, I'm going to be a full time business owner. And my goal is to do it at the beginning of the year. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know what or whatever, but I was literally speaking it like it was already a plan in motion, that like, it was set in stone. But overall, when I kind of sat back, there was no plan to get there. It was kind of just like, all right, that is what we're doing. And the more I would say it out loud to people, and they probably thought I was crazy, because I'm living in my own reality. But it's like, the more I would say it, the more I would just believe it. And the more I would believe it, I would envision, what does my morning feel like? Oh, it feels like freedom. Oh, what does my lunch break look like? It feels like opportunity to meet new people that I didn't have before. Oh, what's my bank account look like? Oh, it looks like liberty, it looks like alignment, and it looks like flow, right? And when I'm thinking these things, I'm feeling them. And so to me, when we start to get emotionally aligned and feel it more and more, that's what's actually bringing us aligned with that vision. Because let me tell you, December of 2021 came along, and I was let go of my last full-time position. And guess what date my furlough, or what the payments that they give you when they give you like a plan to let you go from a job? What's it called?
Your retirement or
Kind of like your severance. There we go. So
severance
my
package?
severance. Guess what day my severance package ran out for my last job?
So don't tell me what was like January,
January 1st.
January 1st.
January 1st. It was insane. It blew my mind, because I'm just like, wow, how did this really happen? That I was forced to, I had the chance, right? I could have looked for another job, obviously. But it was like, wow, this couldn't be any more, perfect timing than to take this leap right when I said I was going to do it a year ago, and make this business a reality.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. So, and what was it that you were doing before 6 months ago?
Yeah, so at the end of 2021, I was still doing digital marketing full time, but the thing was, I was still trying to balance my business on the side, and I couldn't figure out. I'm like, if my business is going to be so great, why can't I make it grow while I'm still doing my full-time job? And now I see it very clearly, and that's just because where energy goes, energy flows. And I was putting that attention onto my full-time job, and I would get to a certain point with the business, and it would always be this decision. Okay, do I go to the business or do I stay at the job? And then one would overpower the other. And guess what? It'd always be, it'd be my job, because it was
So,
the safety, it was the predictableness of it all. It was all those things that you learn as an entrepreneur and full-time business owner, that those things are that fear factor that drive you and motivate you and give you that extra passion to get through those hard times of a startup and bootstrapping and all those things, to see yourself to where you're growing and you are staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning saying, look it, we burnt the ships, we're staying, we're fighting, it's time to do this. And that's what really gave me that extra willpower to push through, to see ourselves in the first month of my business hitting X amount of dollars to the next month hitting 500% of that, the next month 500% of that, and growing 5x month over month because of that that focus and that energy now being able to be dedicated to one thing versus multiple things. And I'm a huge fan of multi-passionate people. I know you're extremely talented, Joel. So I know, it's one of those things where, like,
Thank
you can focus on a lot of things, but when it comes to the startup of your business, I'm a firm believer. I said I would give it my full attention for 6 months, and then after that, I would take a little bit of a break to kind of give a perspective of where I am in the business and figure out where I need to now pivot and now where I need to fill resources and gaps into my business. And we've already hired more salespeople. Like I said, we're growing, and we're on par to make 7 figures this year.
I'm so glad. That is awesome. What an
Yeah.
amazing story. And what
Sure.
an amazing story for people to hear,
Yeah.
for, by you being a young lady who is fighting in this male occupied world of digital world. And then just by you being, a human being, somebody who has felt the exact same strains as many others, having this desire to really fulfill yourself and then being blocked really by yourself.
Yeah. It's been so many learning experiences, and I used to almost just have this resentment of being a woman in technology. I went to a tech school. I went to RIT in New York, and I would always feel this disadvantage. And when I just really stood back and thought about it, it's like I started to use that as the benefit, as the selling point, as the amazing perspective that being a woman gives you in technology, and the opportunities that flow when you start to be in that mindset versus the other side of it is just awesome. It's like, hey, I'm a woman. I'm going to give you my perspective, and it's going to be completely different from everything you're used to hearing. And I actually, as I've developed my own sales team, I actually have a saying, which is, and not to say that this is the gender, but more so your energy. I say, sell like a woman and close like a man, meaning sell in the feminine energy, close in the masculine. Why? The feminine energy is nurturing, it's receiving, it's giving, it's all these amazing things that build a relationship. And not saying men don't, right? But it's like that welcoming, pulling in energy, right? And then the feminine and the masculine is that kind of logical, kind of brute, right? That kind of brawn, where you're kind of making that next step forward and kind of, getting them to make a decision and be logical and kind of not go off of the emotional side, but say, okay, here are the facts, like, let's move forward, let's close things out, right? So I always say, and because when I first went into my business, I would hear people say, do business like a man, take the emotion out of it. And I don't agree with that. I think there's a lot of emotion in it. And especially when people are investing anywhere from $10 to $30 to $50,000 into my business and my brand, there's a lot of emotions in that. And so I say, I want to connect with my people emotionally. I want to earn their trust. I want them to know that they're in the best place possible that's going to cater to what they need emotionally, as well as, because it's, there's a lot of things you got to get past when you're thinking about fears and resistance in starting a project that could be the next biggest opportunity of your life. In the app market, we're not talking about millions anymore. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands. We're talking about billions that you can make. And we see it all the time. And so that's why it's like, I love this saying that we're not afraid of our failure. We're afraid of our success. And we see that so often. So that's why I love the nurture cycle of our sales team, and taking more of a flywheel approach to the way we have our corporate culture, which is to build rapport, build relationships, and the business will come, right? If you build it, they will come.
There you go. There you go. That's a wonderful saying. I think you're onto something right there. I think you're doing a wonderful job with it. I recall meeting you. It must have been what, 6 months ago,
Yeah.
7 months ago. I met you when you were at your old job.
You did. And I'm sure you noticed a different version of me.
I did. You remember we had that conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Dinah, you know what? Talking to you now from the last time I spoke with you,
Yep.
so much has changed. I did not realize that it was like you became free during that period of time.
Exactly. And I discovered so much in that time period. I have an amazing coach, and that's one thing I will always recommend. That Joel. Hopefully, you can coach me too a little bit because I know that we haven't tapped into that relationship yet. But the coach that has helped me in the last year, and honestly, I've known him for the last 7 years, and I've been getting little jewels from him. But Philip Smoke at Project Life, and he's got this just amazing mindset, and he's taught me so much about my business and about how to grow my business, and has been a huge sounding board from start to finish. And even though this sounds like it's been rainbow and sunshine, Joel, the day before I was supposed to launch my business officially, something that took me pretty much 10 years to manifest and to finally get to this pinnacle where every moment has led to this big day. My sales guys are waking up at 8 a.m. to be on their first call with me. I get a call from my sister that my father passed away. Yeah. And although our relationship was a little different, we didn't really have a close relationship. It was the most devastating moment, I think, of my life, because I had to make a decision to let this break me and let this, put things, to the side so that I could deal with the emotional side of things, or I was going to push through it. And nothing will show you what you're made of more when you come into those situations in life that really just, and I don't believe in the universe testing you or God testing you. I don't believe it. I think God is always there for your best interest, right? Those things that feel like tests are really to make you better, right? He doesn't put us through the fire to burn us. He puts us through the fire to make us. And I'm getting a little emotional talking about it, but that moment changed my life. And, being able to push through that while dealing with that side of it really, in my opinion, was one of the most um, discoverable moments of my life in terms of who I am.
Dinah, that's a powerful moment. And I
Yeah,
do recall you sending me a couple of text messages and things like
yeah,
that. Dealing with that, I mean, it's two things that come to my mind is like empowerment, empower, or powerful. And the way that you just explained that about how your rationale is not that you're being tested, but that this is something that you need to go through and that it's there to make you better.
yeah.
There's some points inside of our life when, a closure needs to happen. And then
Hmm.
there's points inside of our life where these these I don't want to call this an obstacle,
Hmm.
but these tragedies happen,
Yeah,
and it gives us a proving ground, a reason to rise, a
yeah.
reason to, kind of like set our flag and say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do my best
Hmm.
in the name of
Yeah,
even. And it fuels our fire.
yeah.
But then there's also a part of us as being entrepreneurs where, especially with yourself being full-time entrepreneur, which I have not made it. I haven't crossed that river just yet or that valley just yet.
Hmm.
But being a full-time entrepreneur and knowing that your next meal literally comes from you doing the work,
Yeah,
until you create that passive flow.
yeah.
It does come from you. And then all of the other people that are working with you, their next meal comes from you being able to mastermind whatever is going on. So
Yeah.
taking a pause or observing the
Hmm.
emotional tie
Yeah,
and then being able to press forward, that is powerful.
yeah, yeah. And just the other day I got sick, and I realized, wow, there's no taking off, even when you're sick, because you take one break and this whole house of cards could fall apart without you kind of holding it all together. And you know, I'm a firm believer that the people you decide to invest your energy and time into, you got to do it like they're your family, your kids, your whatever, because they're going to be the people that ultimately replace you. So, when it comes to even the way that I treat my sales team, the way that I lead them and the way that I even compensate them. I want them to make more money than me. I want them to win more than I want myself to win, because if they're winning more than I am, we're doing phenomenal as a company. So I invest in them doing training. I spend the one-on-one time. I lead them through example. I always make them feel encouraged and empowered. And I let them know, like, you're doing amazing. We do, assessments every month to see how they're doing in their personal life and seeing if they're hitting their personal goals. And, what other business goals do you have? Because I know in this day and age, no one has one business or hustle. I want to help you win. At the end of this month, one of our salespeople is getting a free app to do with our company. Why? I want him to make passive income, and I want him to have proof to see what we do works. So it's really cool when, you can encourage that side of it and have so much transparency with the team and with, the people that are working with you, to where it's like, you guys are a family, and you've created that. It's like a chemistry that can't be recreated. And that's what, in my opinion, what gets the loyalty nowadays, because nothing else is going to get it. The money's not going to get it. I've walked away from 6-figure jobs before just because I wasn't happy, and so the money, it doesn't hold you there. It's the chemistry and the feeling of being heard and recognized and being fostered to growth and your optimal version of yourself.
Powerful again, very powerful. At something that I believe a lot of companies need to learn, especially right now, because some companies are constantly in overturn, and so much so that there's not even any turnover. There's just people leaving. Right?
Yeah, before they even start, it's like a rotating door. Yeah.
Yes, it's horrible right now. And the thing is that I was listening to the second high in command of one organization, and they felt as if, we pay you, like you said, 6-figure job. That's what you're making. You're making 6 figures. And for that, they felt as if, the company and all the employees should be so grateful to have such a job. And the thing is that we are living this technology age, right? We're living in. You can go out and start a business any which way you want to in America. I mean, you can just do whatever you want, and you can create a business because of the internet and how far we are with the internet. You can reach people across the world, and you can sell your brand if you have enough guts and you have enough tenacity to really follow down that path.
That T word is magical. Tenacity. You're so right.
And it makes a difference. So I think that what you're saying is spot on, because it's about developing those relationships, right? It's not just, hey, your worker number XY23674 who makes X amount of dollars. It's like, hey, you're Bob and you're Mary, you're Susie, and I appreciate you being here with me, because you know what, honestly, not just saying this because I want you to smile and then I'm gonna walk away and count up all the cash. But if you weren't here, I wouldn't have been able to do as much as I'm doing. We are doing this because we're doing it together. And I want you to know how much I appreciate all of your hard work. I mean, that's like Anna in the background. I'm going to throw her on into that ring. Anna is absolutely amazing. I mean, fantastic. I love her. And I've got a crew of 2 other people, Arison and Liz, that are doing amazing jobs. But without them, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So
exactly.
I'm feeling this. Like, you are fire.
It's funny you say that. So one of the first things I have my sales team do are 2 personality assessments. And that is it's like a kind of resiliency / like motivation to see like where you stand in terms of like your, tenacity, your fire, your passion. And then the other one is the Myers-Briggs personality test. Now studies have shown that that's the most revealing personality test you can do, most accurate. Would you believe that between me, myself, and the rest of our newest sales team that we've brought on, every single one of them are all the same personality trait. We are all ENFJs, which are the protagonists. And what we do is we're natural champions and we love to help people, and we have passion for, and it's incredible to see that, wow, like when I was interviewing these people and the rest of my sales team interviewed them as well, they knew from just that dynamic that, oh, wow, we speak the same language. Like, wow, this is really cool. And it's like, and now the chemistry is just amazing with our team. And, chemistry takes energy to curate and to bring out and to ask the questions that should be asked, like what's going on in your personal life? What's going on in your home and living environment? Is it peaceful? Do you feel like, you're in a good place to be productive, right? Other things I'll touch on that you mentioned before that actually is one of the main roots of my inspiration in my business and what I do is the fact that we live in a day to day where I want, and my vision for the future is that everyone operates as if they're their own business, because we are. If you think about things like having a home, you have a room, you have a business. If you have a car, you have something shareable. Either you can rent it out or you can drive people around. You have a business. Do you have space in your garage, for goodness sakes? Like, right? Like you can rent out your space in your garage. People are renting out tools, so everyone that's breathing is a business. And I want them to operate in that way. Why? Because we are going to come about the biggest paradigm shift in history if we operate that way. Because if we realize our power and being able to take back just that little bit of power and have it be a big shift in the distribution of power, now we're talking about a bigger ball game than ever. And that's why we see apps that are disruptive, because it's just simply a shift in power. And when we think about a kid in, a third world country that could learn to code watching a YouTube video, they could create an app. And Joel, let me ask you a question. Do you know how much it is to put a child through 1 year of school in Zimbabwe?
No, I don't.
Just take a guess.
Maybe 10 grand?
$50.
$50.
I work with a woman that won the New Zealand Women in Technology Award, and she's from Zimbabwe, and told me that. It crushed me. Why? Because how easy is it to get $50 to a kid, right? And so, we spend that in Starbucks in 5 days, and so you take an app in a third world country, a kid that learns to code, if it's even making, say, $10,000 in a year, he could build a school. He could fund water being put into clean water. He could fund medicine, all these things. And so when I talk on my passion and my why behind Digital Prodigy, it's because mobile applications are the great equalizer of today's modern world. And that's what I love about it, is there's no middleman anymore. We could take out the middleman, just like Amazon did. We look at the greatest doing it, and that's what's happening. Airbnb, there's no location. They're just a middleman connecting people between a need and a want. And that's what apps are doing. And that's why we talk about coaches. We talk about passive revenue for, fitness instructors. We talk about people with, just creative ideas in general, proprietary ideas. There is so much opportunity to build your wealth for yourself. And if anyone is out there listening that's ever had an idea to create an app, don't stand by and watch someone else do it, because they had that courage, that little extra courage to do it and take a risk. Just do it, because you have nothing, but opportunity in front of you. And that's what we help with, is so that you can be in the best opportunity possible to make it successful.
I love it. I love it. And creating those types of opportunities is amazing. And,
Yeah.
like part of what you were saying, I just heard like this, it's about value for value.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, value for value. I love the way you're putting, if you have a car, you have a business, whether you rent it out or you drive somebody around, and you started mentioning all these different types of ways that you can create a business.
Yeah.
It's unbarring our minds. People have to unbar their minds and start to see life as it truly is, instead of as the figment or the example that has been given, that we have learned for so long. Yes. And I love the idea that you're saying, everybody can have a business and we can all work well with one another.
Yeah.
That's okay. It does work that way, because it is value for value. when it comes down to it, it's value for it's back in
Yeah.
the day of like bartering,
Yeah.
I mean, if I have corn and you have wine,
Right.
there it is. We just figured out a way to make something happen,
Right.
if I have wheat and you have silk, there it is. We found a way of making something happen because
Yeah.
I need that, you need this. And when it comes down to it, isn't that really what it's all about? I think taking that dollar kind of out of it, not to say that the dollar doesn't work because it serves its purpose,
Yeah.
but the dollar should not be the ultimate purpose. It should be the
Exactly.
value.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of platforms that are, not even with, money involved. We look at like language exchanges, right? Hey, I want to learn, English, and they're in another country, and I'll teach, they're going to teach me a little better Spanish, right? Like there's all these platforms that literally are saying we need a connector. And sometimes it's information. These apps provide information in a way that we can't normally retrieve it. And because somewhere along the lines, we lost an opportunity, whether that be from our mindset to know how to reach people, and kind of getting the mindset that I need to work a 9 to 5, and that's the only way that I can create resourcefulness in my life, down to like us just not really knowing where to go to tap into certain networks. And so, there's value, there's monetary and non-monetary value in creating these apps that, connect people. Look at WhatsApp. WhatsApp doesn't take a single dollar from you, but it sold for $17.6 billion. So, there's a lot of ways that you can create value using apps and connecting people and still having opportunities to monetize it. And, I've seen some people, just make an extra 5, 6, 7,000 bucks a month, and they're happy with that. You know what I mean? They don't have to work 3 and 4 extra jobs, because I don't think anyone should have to. You should be able to have that freedom in your life. It shouldn't be for a selected few. And that's the beauty of it. Empowering, enabling, and being able to give people back time and their lives. For a lot of business owners, they don't know how to do that. And apps are a great way to replace your immersiveness in your business, take a step back and put it on an engine that can just do it for you, like you're doing with us, right? We're creating your app, and just, set it and let it make its money and do its thing.
I love it. I love it. And yes, Dinah is making me a brilliant app, y'all. So just wait until you see it come out. The Tenacity Foundation is going to have one of the best apps ever, because Dinah's making it and her whole team. Yeah, that's the reason why. So what brought you to this mindset? Because I know we only have time for a few more questions, but like where your mindset, I know that there was, you started to think, in the new year, this is what I'm going to do. In 1 year, you're telling everybody this, you're telling them all. But what was it that got your mind to really start to function in that type of mindset?
I started to follow my inspiration, and I stopped trying to please everybody, and I put the focus back on me. I've built so many businesses, Joel. I've helped so many people make millions. I've helped people, make more money at their job because I would help them with their resume, or I would help businesses launch, like I've done in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I've stood back and watched them win and take, and never even look back at who helped them get there. And, when I look back at those moments, those were needed to experience the pain so that I could use that and transmute that into my motivation to finally focus on doing right by myself and loving myself enough to mentally feed myself good things, to go back to church, to, get myself focused and in line with something that's going to be beneficial for me and my family. And people think that that's selfish, and people confuse what self-love really is. They think it's buying things. They think it's, all these things that you can do, but no, really, self-love is about putting the focus on your embetterment and sacrificing the happiness of that temporary appeasement of other people so that you can achieve what you need to achieve in life. And That's in all types of ways that you do that. That's staying committed and being consistent to yourself. That's keeping promises to yourself and not breaking them, because okay, we make a point to keep promises to everybody else, but we're so quick to break promises to ourselves. And there's nothing worse than having that distrust with ourselves, because that's when you break down your alignment with yourself and with your heart and your soul. And when you keep those promises to yourself on whatever scale that is, on small, on big scale, micro, macro, that's when you start to see your attitude on life changing so much, your belief in yourself changing, because when you believe in yourself, other people can believe in you too. So
I agree.
yeah.
Believing in yourself sets the stage for other people believing in you. You show up completely different.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I said, when I don't know where you were in the stage of your manifestation, but I remember the first time I met you, and then I remember the second time that we spoke, and then I remember the third time, and the third time you were like this flower that had just bloomed.
Thank you.
I was like, wow, you came in, when you appeared, you were just like so radiant and so happy and so carefree. And so everything that you were looking for wasn't with the scarcity type of mindset. It was like, hey, listen, I'm really confident about what I'm doing. I know that I can help you out, and this is what we should be doing. This is what you can do. And I think that was so powerful, because for me, it was like, hey, let's sign right now. That was the message I got. I was like, all right, that's it. Let's go. And I remember I was like, wow, we should record this.
I know, and we did. And I'm going to take that video, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to put it together so we can have our whole memory recorded and documented, because the next step, it's going to be even better. Can you imagine what the next one's going to be like,
Yeah. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that, because, and I mean, I'm glad you said that, because I want to do so much to help so many. And I know you know that, because you know my vision, and you know how large it is and what I'm fighting for to get there. So, and I appreciate every single thing that you and your company does to help me and my company. It's the kinship that's there. It's so relaxed and so loving. It's a relationship. And I think that means so much, because that also means that it's not just about the relationship with you and your employees, but it's also about the relationship from business to business. Gary Vee had something. I mean, caring is big. You start to care for people, and all of a sudden they're like, it's kind of like, when you have, with my children, sometimes I'll do this, and I will run ahead of my kids to open the door for them, or if they want water, I will get up, I'm laying down. I'm the grown man, I mean, but they want a water. I'll get up and go get the water. And my little boy will come and sit down, and he forgot water. And he's younger than me, much younger than me. But he'll be like, Dad, can you get me water? And my wife will say something like, no, go get your own water. And Dad's laying down. He had a rough day. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to get that water.
I love that.
Because I care. I love them, I love them. And when you love people, when you care about people, you'll do these things for people because you want to give. But the thing about it is my son, my daughter, they give back. My wife, they give back so much more.
So much more, yeah.
So it becomes this cycle of giving. And the more that you're giving to these relationships, to your employees, to your coworkers, to the businesses that you're working with, the more that you're giving, the more that you're sharing, the more that you're smiling, the more that you show up as your authentic self, the more people want to be around you. And they don't mind giving you money.
Yeah.
Because money is just a thing, a tool.
Yeah.
That's how you are.
Absolutely.
That's how you are.
Well, thank you. And that means the world to me. I can't even tell you enough. But like when I meet people like you, I'm like, you know what? I don't don't know what we're going to do together. All I know is I want to work with you. You know what I mean? And it just feels good to know that, we've been able to attract such amazing people and clients and life altering opportunities that when it's all said and done, we're going to really have a massive impact on so many people's lives. And just being a part of your mission, like when you told me everything I have planned for this year and the years to come, I'm like, sign me up, because it's everything I stand for. You know what I mean? But you have your way of delivering it to the world. And I love it when I can find people like you, because you guys are gems, and you guys, are just lights of the world. And I love everything that you're doing, and even the opportunity to be here and share my voice and my story. And, to have that synergy that I know is only going to help us feel motivated and feel good when we talk to each other, to take that back to our businesses and bring that back to our team. So I just want to, say that I want you to know how happy and grateful I am to have you as a business partner, and to have, worked with you for so long and seen your growth, and have you witness my growth. It's really been an honor.
I love it. I love it. All right, listen, we got to get ready to shut it on down.
No,
How
it
can
went so
people reach
fast.
you? Yeah,
So,
it did.
my company is Digital Prodigee. That's Prodigee, not Y.com. And then we're also on Instagram at Digital Prodigee. And you guys can always email me with growth@digitalprodigy.com.
And any final words you'd like to leave to the audience?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I'm going to say this quote that I said a long time ago. When you stop being who you are, you can become who you might be.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Look at you leaving a mic drop at the very end.
And also do your app.
Very good. Dinah, thank you so much for being on the It Starts With Me. Obviously, it started with you, and what you are blossoming into is going to be so much greater than what you or I could ever imagine. I look forward to your growth and to continuously working with you.
Thank you so much. Likewise, Joel. I'm so excited.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Dinah is amazing, and she is authentic. This is the real person right here. What she has committed to this process is all truth. So I just want you to remember that and think about this. When it comes down to mindset shift, there's a few things she said that you can do to help shift your mindset. 1, follow your inspiration. 2, start focusing on you. 3, use your pain as your motivation. 4, love yourself, which consists of embetterment, self-embetterment, and commitment, self-belief, feeding yourself so that these things become very real to you. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode of It Starts With Me with Dinah. It has been a blessing to be here with her. It's been a blessing to work with her. And as always, as much as it starts with you, it starts with me. Peace.